Welcome everyone to Rhythm and Roads. I'm your host, Joshua Jacob. We have a very special guest. We have writer director Brent Peterson, and he's actually the director of the new Star Wars fan film called Rendezvous, which I saw last week, and I was shocked. I was like, "Wow, man, great job!" And he's also the founder of the Antigravity Films production company. So, yeah, that's incredible, incredible work. So, welcome, Brent.
Thank you. It's great to be here talking with
Good.
you. And yeah, let's talk Star Wars
Yeah, man.
and all
Your
kinds of other
shirt.
things, whatever you like.
You want to show off your shirt?
Oh yeah, yeah. Here's the shirt for the film.
Very cool. Yeah. So cool. And and when I saw that film last week, I was just like wow, like just incredible. Darth Maul, the characters that you had in there, and then just certain the guns that certain characters had.
Yeah,
The effects that they did was like really cool. I was like, I was like like that's so cool that you thought of that, you know what I mean?
we try and be as authentic as we can. I mean, it's a fan film,
Yeah,
but
right.
you got to respect the fans, the whole universe,
Of course, yeah.
and fans are pretty demanding. They have some opinions, I think.
Yeah, I bet. All right. Well, Brent, let's go ahead and get into your story of you. So, what's your story like of just the start of you being a filmmaker, how you started when you were young, if there was like what sparked that interest to want to pursue film?
It actually is a Star Wars centric story.
Is
I
it really?
saw Star Wars with my father. He took me to my grandfather's theater in Taos, New Mexico, when I was only 4 years old. Here I'm
Wow.
being dated. I'm dating myself now, but saw A New Hope,
Oh,
Star Wars,
wow.
just
You
as
saw New
Star
Hope?
Wars. Yeah, the
That's
original,
rad, yeah.
and it stuck with me. I was only four, and I
Wow.
I just I don't remember actually seeing the film in the theater, but I remember the feeling walking out of that, holding my dad's hand back to the car
Yeah.
and being totally amazed, impressed. And I went home and picked up my crayons and paper, and after seeing that film the first time, I drew 75, 72 pages of child crayon art and telling the whole story that I'd seen.
Wow.
And my parents bound it into a little book, and I still have that today. But that was
Oh,
like
you
the
do?
introduction, yeah,
Wow.
uh,
Cool.
to the wonder of storytelling
Yeah.
through Star Wars. And then as I got older, um, I finally came to the realization in middle school, I think it was, that I really wanted to be a filmmaker. So I
That's
just
cool.
started reading all the books I could, and kind
Wow.
of picking up my dad's VHS camcorder and making films with friends and siblings,
There
and
you
that was
go.
the beginning.
That was the beginning. Good old VHS camcorders. I
Yeah,
actually did that too when I was a teenager using those.
yeah. Oh, fun,
Right.
fun. Editing in camera, you
Yeah.
know, didn't have all the tools we have today, man.
Oh, right. So advanced now compared to then.
Absolutely, yeah. Whole different world now. Man, so many opportunities to learn and software, and
Yeah.
I mean
Oh,
it's
yeah.
totally different world.
It is.
Those aspiring filmmakers today, right now, have some amazing opportunities.
Oh, yeah. No, I totally agree. Yeah. Everything's there, even YouTube University.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and these podcasts as well.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Very
Yeah,
true. And Brent, you said in middle school when you got the VHS, I mean, when in transition to high school and then early 20s, like
yeah.
what were you doing with film at the time? Or like with your early stages of projects?
Well, I made my own little short films, and but I also, like, back then there were no film classes like there
Mm,
are today in high
right.
schools. And so I found myself approaching teachers, like, say it was English. My English teacher says you need to do an oral report on something historical, and so I had chosen the Vietnam War, and so I made a little mini documentary
Oh, wow.
about Vietnam War in the '60s, um, and then Spanish class, oral report. Anytime there was an oral report, I'd approach the teacher and say, "Hey, I'd love to do a video uh, and were you cool with that? And most of the time they'd say, yeah, sure, that sounds really interesting. So go
Yeah.
for it. And so I taught myself um, a lot of technical skills and
Wow.
storytelling skills and documentary,
Yeah.
specifically with that approach to filmmaking. And then I was making little drama films and things with my friends on the side, skateboarding films, all that
That's
stuff.
cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool, man. Very cool. And then from there, you just started. And then how did Anti-Gravity Films start?
Anti-Gravity Film started as Peterson Productions when I was in college.
Okay.
I started, um, I got my first film job was at a little mom and pop company called Corporate Image Video.
Okay.
It was so small that they just brought me in part time, and then ended up not having enough work to really sustain that employment. So they let me go, but they let me find another job, and I got a job at a TV station
Okay.
in promotions, news promotions, and so that was kind of my start into the professional world. I was
Wow.
still going to college, taking as many film courses, screenwriting, film production with 16 millimeter,
Oh,
um,
okay.
and uh, and and then the TV station decided they didn't want to work with my school schedule. They management changed, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they said, "You already got a job. What do you need to finish school for? Just quit school and we'll sign you up for a nice 5-year contract or whatever." Very short-sighted, but so I had to leave that job, and because
Wow.
I only had like a year left in school to
Oh, yeah.
graduate.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and I found myself looking for other jobs, and I couldn't find any that were video centric. So I took the leap into freelancing. And
Wow.
it was a great move. I met some people, some local people, and I started shooting network broadcast as a freelancer in the
All
region.
right. Wow.
Today Show, Ripley's Believe It or Not,
Are you serious? Oh, no
just
way.
kind of, news magazine shows, Dateline, those types of clients.
Very
Um,
cool. Very cool.
and that was kind of my entrance to the more professional side,
Right.
getting away from local news station kind of stuff, and continued there till today. And that was, always making my own stuff.
Very
But
awesome.
that's been what, 25 years now.
25 years. Congrats on that. Wow.
Thank you.
I want to get to that point of when they mentioned to you, leave, you could just stay with us. We'll give you the 5-year contract.
Uh,
Just forget school. Just
yeah,
we'll take care of you. But what I like is that you had a decision to make. You could say, "Hey, they're going to take care of me 5 years," or, "Hey, I only have a year left with college, and then once I
yeah,
finish, that stays with me for the rest of my life."
right.
You know what I mean? But what I liked is how your decision also propelled you to start your own production company. And if it wasn't to that point of them not wanting to work with your schedule with school,
Yeah,
then who knows if that Anti-Gravity Films would have ever started.
right. And it was a big gamble at the time because, I'd been married for a couple of years. We had our first child, and so
Okay.
I had that whole responsibility,
Oh yeah.
um, financial response. I had to make money, and I had to
Yeah.
stay in school and protect the future. I felt like school was important. I didn't want to drop out,
Hmm.
so it all worked out.
It all worked out.
Thankfully, thankfully.
That's awesome. Great decision that you made, huh?
I
Yeah,
think
see, it's all
so.
about decisions. So
Yeah,
that's awesome.
absolutely.
And that's incredible. The clients that you mentioned, wow, with Ripley's Believe It or Not, and then some higher news ABC. You said NBC or ABC or
It was NBC
yeah,
mostly,
NBC.
and I mean it was CNN, it was MSNBC, it
Wow.
was you
Yeah.
know the whole roster,
Oh,
Fox News,
yeah.
um, a bunch of clients. Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
So that was a good go for a long time.
Yeah, I'm glad. And 25 years is a very long time. So,
Yeah,
well, before we get into the Star Wars Rendezvous, you want to share about your film that you on the Las Cruces International Film Festival that you premiered there?
sure.
Yeah, and then we can go into that Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah. So the film after Star Wars, the next year, I made a short original film called Angelito,
Okay.
and it's a coming of age crime drama
Hmm.
about a kid who idolizes his older brother who's in a gang, wants to join the gang as soon as he can, but he's like, he's a kid. He's, you know, 12 years old or so. And one morning he finds his brother's gun left out on the kitchen table.
Hmm.
He picks it up and he takes it to show off to his friend on the street corner.
Hmm.
He thinks it's unloaded, but well, things happen.
Hmm.
And at the same time, his journey is contrast with a journey of a young woman who's the younger sister of the gang leader,
Hmm.
and she's wanting out. She's sick of this life, and it's tumultuous, dangerous implications for her, and so she's trying to get out of this life, while Angelito is trying to get in, and their paths cross in disastrous way.
Yeah.
So it's heartfelt, um, strong drama,
Yeah.
and we've gotten some great feedback. Won a lot of awards.
Yeah.
In fact, I went on to the Tonkawa, Oklahoma Film Festival after Las Cruces, just a couple
Oh,
weeks
nice.
afterwards, and we won Best Drama Film in that festival.
Really? Congrats.
Thank
Awesome.
you,
Very,
thank
yeah,
you.
congrats on that.
So that's the latest news on Angelito. Other than its screening at the Portugal Film Festival just a couple weeks ago.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing the film at the Las Cruces International Film Fest, and yeah, it
Yeah,
really hit you pretty hard. Yeah, great drama. But wow. And
thank you,
is it
thank you.
inspired by a true story or no?
Not a true story,
Okay,
but by a song. I Hung My Head by Sting,
that's
sung
right.
by
See,
Johnny Cash. Yeah, we
yeah,
talked about that
I
back
remember
at the
that. Yeah,
festival. Um, just such a fantastic kind of theme. A cowboy. It's a ballad, right?
yeah.
A cowboy ballad. And I wanted to take the essence of that cowboy ballad about a story about tragedy and redemption,
Hmm.
and bring that and set it in a modern day setting of street gang life.
Wow. Well, yeah. Well, congrats again on that award. And yes, it
Thank you.
definitely, yeah. For those that would like to see it, because they probably haven't seen it, is there a way to see the film?
We're running the festivals right now,
Okay.
so it's not available publicly. But
Okay.
once we finish that, maybe in another year,
Okay.
uh, I I I think I'm going to be putting it up on my YouTube channel, right where
Brilliant.
Star Wars Rendezvous
All
is.
right. Sounds good. Angelito, yes, that film is it just really, especially decisions in that film too. Remember he was making a
Yeah,
decision what to do. I don't want to give it
yeah.
all out, but yeah, great film. All right. Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
for sharing on that, sir. And now we're
Thank
going
you.
to go into the Star Wars Rendezvous.
Yes,
And
sir.
so, what's the story behind it, where you got the idea to do this film?
Well, as I mentioned, I've always been a Star Wars
Right.
fan. Um, and I've been doing a lot of short films through the years. And they've had success, but I've never had like a huge following or audience other than the festivals I go to,
Okay.
or just some screening on YouTube. And I thought, I wonder, and I kept watching other Star Wars fan films. And I
Hmm.
did some research and found out that Lucasfilm, Disney are friendly to those fan films. Not all IPs are,
Oh,
but
okay.
they are. They
Yeah.
they allow them to be made under some guidelines. You can't make any money off them, right?
Okay.
You don't own the IP, so no money
Right.
to be made. You can't publicly crowdfund or raise money to make them, and no gratuitous sex or violence in them. You got to keep it family friendly in that
Okay.
realm. And I just felt like
Wow.
I really wanted to dip my toes into that water.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, I felt like it'd be fun,
Yeah.
and I had a story to tell that came to me,
Yeah.
and I also felt like there was a built-in audience that I could reach out and get some exposure that way, and all of those have
Wow.
paid off, I think.
That's awesome. And this story, like, was it you that wrote the whole story, or you had some friends
Correct.
that,
Yeah.
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 Very
Yeah.
interesting
It's a
story
story
too. Yeah.
about set in between. Well, really, if you're really into Star Wars, you watch the Clone Wars and
Mhm.
Rebels animated series. It's
Okay.
set in between those times,
Okay.
so it would be set actually during the time of Andor,
Okay. Andor.
and also during um, it's at the early stages of the rebellion before it's really been formed.
Wow. Okay. I have not seen the animation of the Clone Wars, so
Yeah.
but
And I
just
wanted
by
to play
watching
with
it,
Darth Maul
yeah,
and
that's all.
Ahsoka Tano
Yeah.
as characters, and they have a fantastic. I'm not going to spoil anything, but at the end of the Clone Wars series,
Hmm.
those characters have some really amazing interactions, and I absolutely recommend
All
watching
right.
that. But I wanted to take from that and see what happens next if
Okay.
they were to meet again.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Very
fertile
interesting.
ground.
Yeah. Right. Very interesting with the Lucas Arts that they're very open to fans creating their own stories and their own film.
Yeah,
And it's not really like, I guess, wasn't that hard, right? To just go ahead and do it within their guidelines.
right. Yeah, yeah. Um, Funded it myself, and I did have a couple of friends, colleagues who pitched in, and we paid everyone. It wasn't a super huge budget, but it was enough to get it done.
Yeah.
We found some fantastic locations and tons of 3D printing for the props. You mentioned the blasters and weapons. We wanted to
Yeah.
make everything as authentic as we could, and
Cool.
it all came together. Not without problems, but it all came together.
How long did it take you to do everything from the production?
All in all, from writing to finishing the film and getting it out, it was a 3 year process.
3 years. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Pretty good. I bet it went by pretty quick too, huh?
it
After,
did, and there were other projects, and of course, freelancing in between.
yeah,
Got to make a living while you're doing this passion project.
right.
So that's part of the reason why it took so long. Wasn't always on the front burner. It was sometimes on the back burner, just
Mm,
percolating, or you know, printing 3D props while I'm doing other productions, that kind of thing, casting, just little by little. But we got it done,
cool.
and now we're making two sequels.
Oh, are
Two
you? That's what I was
sequels,
going to
so it'll
ask
be
you.
3 parts.
3 parts, really?
Yeah.
Very cool. And where do you plan on filming this? What parts of in the US?
Now, for the first one that's out right now, we shot in some fantastic locations: the Bisty Badlands in New Mexico,
Okay.
and down at a Red Rock Slot Canyon near Socorro called San Lorenzo.
Oh,
Beautiful places. The setting was a desert planet, maybe Tatooine, maybe some another planet, not untitled, right?
okay.
But but where the story takes us next, there is no place on Earth where we can film to pull that off. We're going to be going to Dathomir, if fans are familiar, and also to ending up in Malachor. Uh,
Oh, wow.
so there's nowhere to shoot. So what we're doing is we are going to be entering some virtual production, uh, the realm of virtual production, and we are
Wow.
now.
Cool.
Some of it will be actual locations,
Okay.
but for those locations we cannot replicate on Earth, we will be creating digital environments and be shooting on green screen with
Wow.
a digital virtual workflow.
Wow, that's gonna be exciting to check out. When do you think
Yeah,
the second one's gonna be released? When do you think?
we've hit some snags. We're just still trying to work out the environments, the digital environments. I've got some in progress, but it's been hard to find digital artists who are versed in Unreal Engine
Okay.
and really environment creating, because we need those photorealistic environments to be able to immerse our actors in.
Right.
Um, and although we're making some progress and finding some people to work on the project, it's
Yeah.
low budget, right?
Right.
Um, uh, we are making a little bit of progress. So I was hoping to be entering production shooting this summer. I
Okay.
think it's looking more like it might be fall or even next spring if we have more trouble finding artists to work on this project.
Okay. Well, hopefully sooner the better. That way we can see the sequel to it.
Yeah, I can't wait to make it,
Oh,
get
I
it out
bet,
there.
man. It's gonna be exciting. Yeah. I do want to ask you for those that are wanting to pursue film, the ones
Yeah.
and those that are in college right now that are wanting to be filmmakers, what advice can you give them from your experience of just the journey of just, I know there's obstacles, I know there's
Yeah.
People that can criticize work at times, and it just, for those that may want to give up, for those that feel like, man, I really have this passion, this dream, but I don't know if this is the route I need to go. Like from your experience, what can you share?
You just got to do it because no one's going to do it for you.
Mhm.
Um, and there's this, I think you got to dig a little deeper and find out what your motivation. Why do you want to be a filmmaker? What's the reason? Is it like all the accolades and maybe being famous or something? Some people are interested in that.
Yeah.
Or is it storytelling? Is it the craft?
Mm.
Is it what? I mean, if you can identify what draws you to it, um, you can be motivated by that. For me, I love just storytelling,
Yeah.
and it's rewarding to tell a good story. It's kudos, the kudos and the awards. They're all like byproducts
Mm.
of that, but the core is to tell a good story,
Yeah.
and I love the craft as well. All of it, from shooting to editing. So if you can identify what draws you to it,
Mm.
um, you can kind of focus on that, and and that helps the setbacks because you will have setbacks. You can have issues, and um, just work through them. But make movies. Pick up a camera. Pick up a phone,
Yeah.
um, and just make it happen because
Yeah.
that's how you really gain experience. And you can't count on anyone to give you money, especially at first.
Right.
So you have to be the driver there.
Wow. Well said. And that's right. Just pick up your phone, right? Just
Yeah,
something basic like that. You can do a little
yeah.
short.
And don't be afraid of criticism because criticism can help you, or you can just blow it off. One of my favorite stories to tell now. It was a little traumatic at the time, but um, I was taking a film class in college, and I had a really interesting professor, and she was more abstract minded. She hated the Hollywood establishment, and there's some there's some reason too, right?
Right.
Cookie cutter films and uninspired content, but um, she had turned her back on all of that and more so on narrative storytelling, I felt like, but that was my focus. I made a film called Death Awaits. It's about um, a guy who finds death, the persona of death following him. And
Wow.
there's some antics that happen, but it feels like he beats death,
Hmm.
only to be run over by a car and death has him, right? So I felt really proud of it, and it screened really well with all of my fellow filmmakers and in the class and family friends. It actually later went on to win some awards at festivals as well. But
Oh,
when I
nice.
screened it for the first time in class,
Yeah.
uh, I'll never forget this. The whole class erupted in applause. They
Wow.
hadn't done that for any of the other films that were screening
Really?
that day, but they did for mine, and I felt like, okay, awesome, I connected here.
Yeah.
But the first thing the professor said was that was commercial garbage,
Wow. No way.
and it's like the whole class was like, oh,
Oh,
and
wow.
I
Commercial
I
garbage.
didn't know how to take that.
Dang.
Um, but and then again, like I said, it went on to do so well with so
Wow.
many audiences. In fact, Urban Chillers in the UK picked it up. It was a horror channel back then when
Okay.
I was in school, and they put it on their channel for a couple years, and
Wow.
I got screened
Very
there.
cool.
So it did well, but
Yeah.
don't be don't be intimidated by naysayers.
Yeah.
Believe in your work and and just and make it happen. Do it and be proud of it.
Wow. Incredible. Thanks for sharing that story. That's incredible. Yeah. See, and there's a thing too, because I'm very big on Walt Disney. And so there's a story too that his art instructor told him in high school that he
Yeah.
would never amount to
Yeah.
being an artist.
So many
It's
successful people
insane.
have that story, right?
You're right.
So
It's like,
many.
what? imagine if he listened to his art instructor and he was all like, "Well, I mean, she knows best, right? Or he knows
Exactly.
best, so I guess I'll figure something else."
Exactly.
Man, stay with
Yeah,
that vision. Stay focused.
definitely.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Well, thank you, Brand, for coming on Rhythm and Roads. For those that want to follow you and your work, how can they find you on social media, website?
So go to if it's YouTube, I believe it's Anti-Gravity ABQ, or
Okay.
you can. Here's a better solution. Just look up Star Wars Rendezvous,
Hmm.
and you will find it on Google. You'll find links to it on YouTube,
Oh,
or
very
you
cool.
can do a YouTube search. The website is
Okay.
antigravityfilms.com.
Okay. And then those that you can also be hired for
And
production assistance as
absolutely,
well.
yeah,
Yeah. For some
yeah.
of that. Okay.
Writer,
Awesome.
director, DP, editor.
All that good stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Instagram is I think is Anti-Gravity Films LLC.
okay, as well. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Brand, for sharing your incredible journey and your story and great advice as well. I mean, just the fact of what you just shared right now, where you had the audience of that class show that they loved it, and then your professor just like, ah, that's commercial garbage. Like, come
Poo-poo.
on, man.
Yeah,
Let the audience speak for itself. They're the ones that are there cheering you on, saying, do it, man.
absolutely.
So that's all.
Absolutely.
Well, it's been such a pleasure to have you on Rhythm and Roads, and I wish you the best on your future Star Wars fan films. It's
Thank you.
exciting to see. Yeah, and I loved Rendezvous. I thought just the special effects were incredible. I love that you brought Darth Maul in there. The
Which was
shooting
me.
shots, the scenes too, how you shot was like pretty cool. I was like,
It was a
wow.
challenge being in the film as Maul and directing it as well. But I wanted to, I always believe in stretching.
Yeah,
You got to stretch yourself,
that's
find
right.
out what your capability truly is.
Right. Challenge yourself, push yourself.
Yes.
Oh, all righty. Well, thank you guys for watching this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.